Hey everyone, Diavolo here, and welcome back to the spoilers that have just dropped for chapter 224 of Tokyo Revengers. If you guys are new around here and want to keep up to date with the latest Tokyo Revengers reviews, spoilers, and more, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and also be sure to leave a like on the video, as it really helps out with the algorithm and pushes my stuff to a bunch of new amazing people. But anyway, enough of that, let's get into these spoilers. So honestly, it looks like this week here is building up to be one of the most exciting chapters of the entire Three Deities arc so far. Obviously last week we probably had the saddest chapter with, I think, probably the confirmed death of Draken. Nothing throughout what I've been given tonight has really confirmed what's happened to Draken or not. Honestly, what I'd like to see, is Emma kind of refusing Draken to come with her, telling him that it's not his time to possibly, pass along to the land of the dead, because she knows how it would affect Mikey in the long run. As we know, the entire series started with Takemichi preventing the death of Draken, because that's what resulted in Mikey completely losing it and becoming, who he was in the first place. So having this death happen here is almost like making that entire story so far feel invalid in some kind of way. Like what Takemichi's done just hasn't been worth it. But sadly, as I just said, we don't get anything on that this week. Maybe we will once the chapter does arrive, we get some kind of information on it, but what I have been given so far and what is confirmed to be happening throughout this chapter apparently is that it looks like the Three Deities War is about to begin. And so obviously for people who don't know what the Three Deities War is, who've just come straight from the anime or something now that it's just ended, I'll quickly give you a rundown. The Three Deities War is obviously the Brahman gangs, the Kantou gangs, which is Mikey's new gang now that he's in this timeline, and the Rokuhara gang, which is the gang that has apparently just shot Draken here. And it looks like the Three Deities War is about to begin. So I'm wondering if it skipped forward to the 14th, which I'm pretty sure was the date that the battle was meant to commence. And I wonder if Mikey has found out about Draken's possible death here. From what else we get, it looks like Mikey has actually found out about Draken's death, and I would imagine that this is probably like a few days after what has just happened has happened. But the appearance of Brahman, Kantou gangs, and the Rokuhara are all present. The Kantou gang was the last to arrive, and we'll get to who arrived specifically from the Kantou gang and how many arrive later. But it seems like Brahman and Rokuhara are actually discussing something about Draken before the Kantou gang arrives. So I'm wondering what they're discussing about Draken. Hopefully we, get some kind of confirmation that they're discussing Draken's possible fate and whether or not if he's died or not. Obviously, it's going to have to be given to us through someone else if he has died or not, as at the moment it looks like it's skipping forward in the story and we're not following him to the hospital. So we're going to have to find out through someone else, probably Takemichi, in a conversation with someone like the leader of the Rokuhara Tandai or Tarano, when he's asking, where is Draken? Why isn't he here? There's probably going to be some kind of explanation, or possibly even the Rokuhara will try to belittle Takemichi and Brahman and bring up the fact that they've shot and killed Draken as kind of like a joke to make them and try and get them mad. The last panel of the entire chapter apparently shows Mikey arriving at the scene of Brahman and Rokuhara, unhappy, dark, and tired. So, I think that's kind of obvious then on really what Mikey knows. This dark and tired, we can imagine we're going to be getting something like what he's looked like pretty much throughout this entire arc so far. He's had this terrified, dark kind of gaze in his eyes that you just don't really want to go near. Like when we first saw him in 207 where he's looking at his hand, he just doesn't look like that normal Mikey that we're used to. And then again, of course, in the flashback where we see him attacking Draken and the guys, he just seems to have lost the peaceful kind of look that he had behind his character, and now he looks like more of a crazed maniac than anything. And obviously it looks like Mikey has found out about Draken. Draken is either dead, alive, or in a coma. And the people that have given me the spoiler information are completely unsure about that. But Mikey has arrived alone. So no one is with Mikey. So that's kind of what I wanted to get to at the start of the chapter, and why I think it's huge. Mikey is going to be pretty much the overbearing, force of this gang that does a lot of the fighting, I could imagine, as something that was brought up in the Tenjiku arc. Something that also was brought up recently that I'll get to in a second, but something that was brought up in the Tenjiku arc with Mikey being able to take down what he thinks 20,000 men. So him showing up to a fight by himself against two gangs is kind of not out of character for him to do that, as he thinks he could quite easily defeat these gangs by himself most likely. And something else, obviously, that I do want to point out is on Drakens' deathbed, how he brings up the idea that Mikey has never tasted defeat. He's never stared up at the clouds before after losing everything. And the idea of a hit not being enough, as we've seen throughout the series, Mikey has asked Takemichi to so-called hit him just like his brother would have to bring him back in line and to straighten him out. But perhaps this hit just isn't enough anymore, and he needs more than just a hit. He needs to be actually defeated and feel like he's lost everything in terms of strength. And I think that there could possibly change Mikey's outlook on things. And we get like an amazing picture of a defeated Mikey kind of looking up at the sky while like rain pours on his face or something like that. We've got the, the entire thing with Takomi being the rain bringer, and now it's been raining, and wherever he goes, it's apparently raining. So I'm wondering if there's anything else about him that we're going to get with his entire rain aspect, whether or not he's going to be revealed to have been near the amusement park or not. As it'd be extremely interesting if he was kind of looking out for Senju without her knowing, or possibly if he even tried setting up the shooting in the first place, as he knew that Senju would have been going out. Just an idea. I don't know if he'd want to kill his family members, as at the moment Sansu, his other brother, is obviously with Mikey. So I'm wondering if he's thinking of betraying Senju and possibly going over and taking the same side as Mikey and Sansu, because as we know in the future with the Bonten gang, he's a lead admin. So obviously at some point he's decided to leave Brahman and join the Kantou Majin gang, which is then again in the future evolved into the Bonten gang. So I'm wondering when this happens, is there going to be a little betrayal going on at this kind of first big fight here? I'm really not expecting this to kind of be the outcome fight of the entire arc at all by any means. What I'm thinking is that this is going to be the first conflict of the entire arc that we're going to get here. Something will happen throughout this fight, in which it will involve Takemichi having to travel back again, because as I've said in my spoiler video, in which I called at the end of Tokyo Revengers, I just don't think Mikey is going to be able to recover if Draken has died here. And the idea that Takemichi brought up during the Tenjiku arc on how he believes nothing is impossible and that he would like to save both Emma and Baji, I believe, that he could actually go back in time and, fix everything. But that's just an idea. Be sure to check out my video, which I'll leave a link to in the description below if you want to know more about that. But the last thing that we've been given here is that it is possible that the whole Kantou Majin gang will appear in 225. So obviously Mikey may have arrived alone, but his entire gang could be near and arriving, a chapter later, and he's just rushed to get there early. Because as we know, Mikey does also drive ahead of the pack, and that's something that he has done throughout the entire series, especially just in the flashback we had in the previous chapter where Mikey is literally in front of the entire group while they're chatting to each other heading towards the beach early in the morning. That could be a slight foreshadowing to Mikey possibly showing up here. It's just a thought, or an idea at least, that I'm having. If you guys have any thoughts or ideas on what you think is going to happen throughout this chapter and how you think this fight could possibly go down, these are like somewhat confirmed spoilers. I don't know if they're 100% right or not yet, obviously, as we'll have to wait until the chapter does come out. But this is from the account that used to post a lot of these spoilers on Twitter, but they had to end up shutting down their account. But I've worked something out with them, and hopefully each week they can, get a hold of me and give me the solid information so that I can release it here to you guys strictly for you. So, let everyone know that this is the place you want to come to if you actually want to get solid information for Tokyo Revengers spoilers. But yeah, anyway, enough of that. If you guys are new around here and want to keep up to date with the latest Tokyo Revengers reviews, spoilers, and more, then make sure you hit that subscribe button, and also be sure to leave a like on the video, as it really helps out with the algorithm and pushes my stuff to a bunch of new amazing people. But anyway, for now, it's been your professional degenerate, Diavolo, and I'll see you all in a bit. Bye.